Don't be a bitch, and I won't give you the face.
Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. Today we are going to dish the dirt on the Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 12, Episode 8, Run for Your Wife. Let's start with Peggy's lunch with Shannon. Okay, before I talk about it, I need to say this. In my opinion, any woman should be able to make any decision she wishes about her own body without ridicule or criticism from anybody else. The fact that her mother had breast cancer and died at age 51 could be reason enough for her, and that's her decision, and that's fine. So the problem that I have with Peggy is something different. Shannon asked her if she had breast cancer, and her answer was, I had a double mastectomy. Okay, that you didn't really answer the question. My problem is that I think she's being very cagey about the whole thing, and I don't like that. So Shannon said, oh, were you tested for the BRCA gene? And Peggy said, it was negative. So Shannon's like, oh. Because normally when a woman has a family history of breast cancer, like a mom, aunt, sister, and they would get tested to see if they have the gene that makes them more susceptible to getting it in the future. And then typically, if they do, then they have a decision to make. If they don't, then they are no more likely to get breast cancer than any other woman. So it is usually the women that test positive for the BRCA gene that go through a very difficult decision. Do I want to proactively have a mastectomy, or do I take my chances? So I'm not sure why Peggy went through that test if she was going to make the decision anyway. Anyway, so she says it was negative. And Shannon goes, it was negative? But you, what? Like she was confused, and she nods and she said, my mother had breast cancer. And then she said, I got a mammogram and then an MRI. And what the mammogram didn't pick up, the MRI picked up. So Shannon said, oh, so even though you didn't have the BRCA gene, you had the surgery because they detected things with the MRI. And Peggy's like, So I got to call back and they said they didn't find anything. What? Shannon's like, okay. And I'm sure she's thinking what we are all thinking at home. So you had gotten tested for the BRCA gene, it's negative. You had a mammogram that didn't detect anything. You went and had an MRI that didn't detect anything. And you went and had a double mastectomy anyway. Now this is where I say a woman can do whatever she wants. That's fine. Her mother died at age 51. That would scare anybody. And I pass no judgment over her decision to have a double mastectomy. What I'm passing judgment over is how cagey she's responding to all these questions and making it seem like she had a big cancer scare or something. That's not okay. All you had to do, Peggy, was say, yeah, I did. I had all these tests. Everything came out negative. But you know what? With what happened to my mom, I was scared. I don't want to go through that. I've got children, and I just made that decision. And nobody would fault her for that. Oh, I'm making a big announcement here. I don't watch, have never watched, and do not watch the most popular franchise of Housewives ever. I don't watch Atlanta. I could not get into it. Years, when it very first started, I probably saw the first episode, maybe part of the second. I don't like Kim Zolciak. I did not like her, and this is like sacrilegious, but I don't like Nene. I don't like Nene Leakes. I wasn't interested. So anyway, one thing I did catch was during a reunion episode for Real Housewives of Atlanta, I think Kim Zolciak had the same sort of situation, and Andy Cohen said to her, so did you have cancer or didn't you? Anyway, she said, well, thankfully it turned out not to be. And that was also very shady, the way she kind of led everyone to believe she had cancer and didn't. I mean, stop messing with that, ladies. That is not going to work out well for you. And what an insult to the millions of people who really are suffering. Vicki and Kelly meet up at a store to have their auras read. All I can tell you right now is I wish that thing would have told Vicki her dress was too short. Because, girl, I mean, you look good, but I don't think a woman your age should be rocking something that's barely covering your ass. Then Kelly tells her she's going out with Megan and Shannon for St. Patrick's Day. And Vicki's like, oh, Shannon's going to be there? Oh, well, I mean, I think that's going to be a really weird combination of people. Yeah, weird because you're not one of them. Kelly says to the confession cam, I think Vicki was just feeling a little left out. But really, she should be happy that everybody wants to include me in things. Why should she be happy that people want to include you in things, Kelly? Oh, Kelly. Oh, Shannon is complaining about David exercising too much. Girl, you won't let him sleep with other women. He's got to do something with all his pent-up energy. She complains he's spending too much time exercising because he's training for the Spartan race that Tamra and Eddie are running in. Lydia and Doug are also going to do it. And David's doing it. And everyone's telling Shannon she should be supportive and she should have been training for it too. No. Leave Shannon alone. She doesn't have to do all that. I mean, she might want to show up and support her husband, but she doesn't have to be in the race because you guys are in the race. I mean, Tamra, your entire life and your business is all about exercise and working out. Not everybody's like that. So as Lydia and Doug are getting ready for the Spartan race, Doug McLaughlin, Dad of the Year, decides to show a picture of the fire to his 6-year-old son and say, Mommy's going to be going through this. Naturally, the boy starts crying and he says to Lydia, are you going to die in that fire? And she has to say, oh no, sweetie, no, I'm going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. And then to the confession cam, is Maverick a prophet? Is that really going to happen? Am I going to die in that fire? Oh God, Lydia. No, Lydia. He's not a prophet. His father just showed him a wall of fire and said, Mommy's going to go through this. Doesn't take a prophet to question whether you might die in there. As it turns out, it was this little 6-inch wide, foot-high thing of hot coals that Maverick himself could have jumped over. So with a tiny little leap, Lydia managed to not perish in the flames. Okay, I figured out who David reminds me of. Eeyore. He's so dejected and let down. Yes, dear. Tamra and Eddie are stretching before the Spartan race, and David is there, and he's walking around. Oh, it's just a lot of hurry up and waiting in line. And Tamra says, David, you need to stretch. I'm fine. And then Eddie's like, oh yeah, he doesn't need to stretch. He's a maverick. No, he's not a maverick. He's Eeyore. If anyone would perish in that flame, it would be David because he just wouldn't have the energy to jump over it. They all finished the race, by the way. Kudos to everybody who did it because it just looked like a lot of work. We end with the St. Patrick's Day scene and they're in a bar. Shannon has reprised her top of the morning to ya from the Ireland trip, so that's fun for everybody. And they have what I think is going to be like round 2 or 3 or 4 of the fight. Shannon and Kelly kind of are talking about things in the past and they're getting into it again a little bit. But I was quickly reminded about Kelly and what a good apologizer she is. She gives the best apologies. I remember that from her last season. Instead of rehashing things and getting all mad all over again, starts to say how sorry she is to Shannon. And I don't know why I did that. And she gets a little teary-eyed and she sounds so sincere. I believe her. Now, it doesn't mean she won't do it again, because she will. But I truly believe that at the time, I think she really is remorseful. That's it for me. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please give this a thumbs up if you liked it, and hit the bell if you would like notifications whenever I have a new video coming out. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.